Let's get started with our first news. Shawn O'Malley breaks silence on his devastating UFC 316 loss. Following his fight against Merab Dvalishvili, fans and media alike were eager to hear what Shawn had to say. In the post-fight press conference, Dana White addressed Shawn's situation and offered some insight into what comes next. Dana explained that the promotion would be giving Shawn some much-needed time to reflect on the outcome, spend time with his family, and regroup before any conversations are had about his future inside the octagon. According to Dana, there's no rush to make a decision regarding Shawn's next opponent or whether he'll even stay in the Bantamweight division. Right now, it's all about mental clarity and personal space for the former champ. But Shawn didn't wait too long to speak up. During his in-octagon interview immediately after the loss, he opened up briefly about his unexpected defeat, saying, "I didn't feel like it was going to go like that." That simple sentence said a lot. It reflected confusion, disappointment, and the shock of being on the losing end of a fight that many expected to be highly competitive. Clearly, the fight didn't go according to plan, and Shawn didn't anticipate being overwhelmed in the way that he was. Interestingly, Merab's mother made headlines shortly after the fight, although details about her comments are still emerging. Her involvement added another layer to the already dramatic night, showing just how much personal and family emotion is tied into fights at this level. This wasn't just a professional loss for Shawn, it was something that impacted him, his fans, and even the families of those involved. Then, earlier this morning, Shawn took to social media to share a heartfelt video with his supporters. In the video, he kept things simple but emotional, saying, "Alright fellas, we're back home. Appreciate you guys. Sorry we didn't get the job done. We'll be back. Love you guys." It was a moment of gratitude and reassurance from a fighter who, despite the setback, still holds the belief that he will return stronger. His tone was humble, grounded, and focused on the long-term journey rather than this single moment of defeat. Now, the big question looms. What should be next for both Shawn O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili? For Shawn, some are calling for a move up to featherweight, especially after back-to-back struggles in the Bantamweight division. He's hinted at that possibility before, and with more powerful, relentless grapplers like Merab in the mix, it might be the fresh start he needs. As for Merab, his dominant performance has launched him into Bantamweight GOAT conversations. Who's next for him? Maybe Cory Sandhagen, maybe even a title defense. But one thing's for sure, he's made a huge statement. Now, let's move on to the second major headline of the day. Jon Jones reacts to Dana White's UFC 316 post-fight interview. This situation has been boiling over for weeks, but following the events of UFC 316, the tension between Jon Jones, the UFC, and the fans has reached a whole new level. During the post-fight press conference, Dana White addressed several hot topics, and one of the most controversial was the ongoing drama surrounding the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall situation. Reporters wasted no time bringing up Jon's recent tweets, where he hinted at vacating his heavyweight title, something that shocked fans across the world. A reporter asked Dana, "Jon's been tweeting a lot about the fact that he's told you his plans. He's ready to vacate the belt and all the rest of it." To that, Dana responded with visible confusion and a hint of frustration. What? He said he's ready to vacate the belt? He said he doesn't care if you strip him, but he would vacate it? Crazy. Yeah, I've been busy. I haven't been keeping up with the gossip. Dana went on to explain that he can't force anyone to fight if they don't want to, referencing similar situations with Khabib Nurmagomedov and Daniel Cormier. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, there's nothing you can do. I didn't want Khabib to retire. I thought DC should have stayed in it longer, but at the end of the day, it's none of my business. Dana emphasized that while he'll do everything in his power to make the fight happen, Jon Jones's mental state and willingness to fight ultimately decides the future. Then the conversation turned to a viral online petition that has taken the MMA world by storm. The petition calls for Jon Jones to be stripped of his heavyweight title due to inactivity and the rise of interim champ Tom Aspinall. When asked if he'd seen it, Dana responded, "Every human on earth was DMing it to me, and yeah, I saw it." While the petition has gathered more than 188,000 signatures, Dana downplayed its significance. 130,000 people want to see him stripped. Sure, yeah, it's not enough. I'm not saying that, it's kind of silly. He reminded the media that there are hundreds of millions of MMA fans worldwide. So a petition like this, while loud, doesn't represent the entire fan base. One reporter cheekily asked if Dana himself had signed the petition. Dana laughed and said, "No, I did not." This morning, Jon Jones fired back on X, formerly Twitter, posting a short but pointed message. 200,000 over 8 million. He was clearly referring to his social media following and implying that a small percentage of people making noise online doesn't reflect the will of the majority. So now the big question, what are your thoughts on the situation? Should Jon Jones be forced to vacate if he's not ready to fight? Or does a legend of his caliber deserve more time and respect? And is Tom Aspinall being held back by a system that protects aging stars instead of rising ones? The debate is only heating up. Let's move on to another major update in the MMA world. Jack Della Maddalena receives warning ahead of a possible Islam Makhachev fight. Although Islam Makhachev has firmly established himself as one of the most dominant lightweights in UFC history, his ambition to move up and capture the welterweight title has sparked a lot of debate among fans and fighters alike. Many believe that stepping into the 170-pound division will be a whole new beast for Islam, where fighters are bigger, stronger, and hit harder. However, Vicente Luque, a seasoned UFC welterweight and someone who's trained directly with Islam, thinks people are underestimating the Dagestani champion. As of now, no official date has been announced for the clash between Islam and the new welterweight king Jack Della Maddalena, but sources indicate that the bout is being targeted before the end of the year, and the buildup is already heating up. In a recent interview with MMA Fighting, Luque gave fans some rare behind-the-scenes insight into Islam's capabilities at welterweight, and it came with a serious warning for Jack. Luque stated, "I've trained with him a few times, so I can say that he really is very good on the ground. A ton of pressure and technique. He's not weak for the division." This statement alone should raise eyebrows, especially coming from a veteran who has shared the cage with the division's most dangerous names. Luque acknowledged that Islam has spent most of his career fighting at 155, but he believes Islam's isometric strength and grappling technique will still translate very well to 170. I don't know how he's working, if he's looking to add more weight and maybe more power compared to when we trained, but he has a lot of pressure. In other words, Islam may be smaller than some welterweights, but his technical superiority and physical strength could close that gap. He added, "His ground game is very refined. As for the height, he's not that tall, but if he compensates with the ground with his top-notch wrestling, I think he won't have problems in the division." That's a huge statement, especially considering how grappling-heavy fighters often do well against striking-focused opponents like Jack Della Maddalena. However, Luque also highlighted one potential challenge for Islam, the physical power of true welterweights. Of course, it's different. We're stronger. It could be more difficult as the fight progresses, 3 or 5 rounds, and the power is a whole other game. That makes a difference. So while he believes Islam will be dangerous, the welterweight waters are not without threats. These comments are especially compelling because Luque has faced and beaten some of the division's toughest contenders. His warning shouldn't be taken lightly. Jack Della Maddalena, with his striking accuracy, durability, and momentum, will be no easy task for Islam. But now the question is for you. Do you believe Islam can overcome the size disadvantage and defeat Jack? Can he become a 2-division UFC champion and cement his place among the all-time greats? Or will Jack shut down the hype and prove the welterweight throne is his to keep? Let us know your thoughts. Let's move on to another exciting piece of news in the MMA world. Merab Dvalishvili responds to Jon Jones after receiving a public shout-out from the UFC heavyweight champion himself. Last night, Jon Jones took to X, formerly Twitter, to acknowledge and congratulate Merab Dvalishvili on his impressive win and his incredible 13-fight winning streak. Jon posted an image showing UFC champions and contenders who had achieved similar win streaks, and he made sure to give Merab the recognition he now deserves as part of that elite group. Jones wrote, "Welcome and congratulations, Merab." This kind of acknowledgement from a legend like Jon Jones doesn't happen every day. Jones, widely considered one of the greatest fighters in UFC history, rarely hands out praise like this unless he truly respects a fighter's work ethic and achievements. For Merab to be recognized by the current heavyweight champion who has defeated legends and dominated the light heavyweight division for years is no small deal. Merab, never one to seek the spotlight with words, responded to Jon's post with a simple fist emoji, a sign of mutual respect and warrior spirit. It was a brief but meaningful reply, showing gratitude while staying true to Merab's humble nature, but it didn't stop there. Jones then reposted Merab's response and followed it up with a lighthearted and friendly message. "How are you feeling today, champ? Are you sore at all?" This playful tone suggests that Jones genuinely respects what Merab went through in his recent fight, which was a grueling, high-paced performance that added yet another victory to his ever-growing streak. This exchange between two fighters from different weight classes, one in the bantamweight division and the other at heavyweight, reflects how performance and consistency transcend size and division in MMA. John knows what it takes to build and maintain a winning streak at the highest level, and it's clear he sees that same grit and determination in Merab. It's also important to note that this kind of social media interaction not only builds camaraderie among fighters, but also excites fans. Seeing top-level champions showing support across divisions adds a human element to the sport and creates a stronger sense of community in the UFC. So now the spotlight is fully on Merab, with 13 straight wins, an iron will, and respect from legends like Jon Jones. What's next for the Georgian warrior? Could a title shot finally be within reach? Let us know what you think and who Merab should face next. Now let's move on to another big update in the world of MMA. Merab Dvalishvili's coach has spoken out about a potential matchup against top contender Cory Sandhagen, and according to him, he doesn't see a big threat coming from Cory's style. Merab is coming off an absolutely dominant performance where he destroyed Shawn O'Malley in their highly anticipated rematch. While Shawn showed some improvement in his defensive wrestling early in the fight, it was only a matter of time before Merab's relentless pressure, insane pace, and superior ground control overwhelmed him. What followed was a one-sided beatdown that left no questions in the minds of fans, critics, or UFC brass. Merab is the real deal. After suffering back-to-back losses to Merab, Shawn is now expected to make a move up to featherweight, 145 pounds, something he's teased in the past. And at 145, there are already exciting matchups being thrown around, including a potential rematch with Aljamain Sterling, who also recently made the jump to that division. But as for Merab, it's time the MMA world begins to seriously consider him in the bantamweight GOAT conversation. Just look at the names on his resume: Jose Aldo, Shawn O'Malley, Umar Nurmagomedov, Henry Cejudo. These are elite championship caliber fighters, and Merab has not only defeated them, but done so dominantly. At this point, there are very few names left for Merab to conquer at 135. His win streak, his consistency, his insane cardio, and his ability to completely shut down top opponents have made it hard to argue against him being the greatest bantamweight the UFC has ever seen. So where does that leave Cory Sandhagen? A potential matchup between Cory and Merab has long been discussed by fans, and now Merab's coach has weighed in. In a recent interview, he shared his thoughts on how the two fighters would match up stylistically. Cory's a great fighter, and honestly, I enjoy watching him. He's very entertaining and has a lot of tools that can be tough to deal with, but I don't think it's anything different than what Merab has already seen. I think we'll have just a fine time preparing for him, and it'll be a fun fight, but I can tell you this, Merab's gonna come out ahead on that one. He continued, "We've kind of fought that style before. Cory is tricky and tough, no doubt, but I know Merab, I know what he can do, and I know what we're going to do. It's always fun to coach a game plan against someone like Cory. He's got a great team and coaches, but stylistically, I think this matchup works out great for us." With that kind of confidence coming from Merab's camp and the way he's been performing, Cory Sandhagen will have to bring the fight of his life to have a shot. Do you think Cory has what it takes to stop the Merab train? Let us know what you think. And finally, let's talk about Cory Sandhagen's reaction to Merab Dvalishvili's dominant win over Shawn O'Malley at UFC 316. Just moments after the event wrapped up, Cory gave his thoughts during an interview with ESPN MMA, and he had a lot of praise for the newly crowned champion. While Cory and Merab are now clearly on a collision course, there was no bad blood in his reaction, only respect and excitement for the future. Cory began by acknowledging just how impressive Merab's performance really was, saying, "Yeah, it was great. Merab did an awesome job. I kind of anticipated that Merab was even going to look better in this fight, just when I was thinking about it a little bit more. And he did awesome. He got the finish. I'm sure that's what he was looking for, and I'm happy for him. It's not often you see a top contender openly celebrating the success of a potential future opponent, but that's exactly what Cory did. He pointed out that he and Merab share a good rapport, and that mutual respect was clear in his tone. He continued by breaking down what surprised him about Shawn O'Malley's strategy during the fight. I was kind of surprised that Shawn decided to move as much as he was, particularly in the second round. That's a very tough thing to do against a guy that's going to press like that. Cory also emphasized what makes Merab so dangerous. Yeah, when Merab decides to get aggressive, he gets aggressive. And I'm looking forward to that, man. Like, Merab's probably, he is the best guy in the division. He's maybe one of the best guys in the UFC, and I want to take that guy out. But perhaps the most telling part of Cory's comments came when he was asked how someone could actually beat Merab. His answer was blunt and honest. How do you manage just the machine of Merab Dvalishvili? Yeah, you gotta knock that guy out. That's it. You just gotta knock that guy out. With both fighters eyeing each other now, it seems like Cory versus Merab could be the next huge fight at 135. Will Cory be the one to stop the machine? Time will tell.